The regular meeting of Osoyoos Town Council on Monday, February the 15th, 2016, 2 o'clock in Council Chambers. I'd like to call the meeting to order and look at the adoption of some minutes. That would be the Committee of the Whole minutes on February the 1st, 2016, and the regular open minutes of February the 1st, 2016. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Thank you. It would be Rhodes Campbell that we move the adoption of those minutes. All in favor? Thank you. Business arising from prior minutes, there are none. And introduction of late items. Under business number 5, there we will include an Emergency Program Act update. And under water matters number 3, we will talk about the gas tax twinning grant. So we will add both of those to the agenda, and we need a mover and a seconder to approve the agenda. Am I correct? Thank you. Rhodes King, all in favor. Thank you. Next is no delegations. And so we now have water matters. And the first one is Water Districts 8 and 9 financial accounts. Mr. Romanko. Am I correct?
No,
that's me? That's me, sorry. Okay. So this would be from Mrs. Victor, the payroll clerk, and to report on expenditures from accounts payable for water councillors and council approval. Water District cash requirements to February the 15th in the amount of $10,083.33 for council approval. Good. Thank you. Moved by Water Councillor Moreira, seconded by Councillor Ray, that we go with option number 1. All in favor? Thank you. Water District Rates and Regulations Amendment Bylaw. Mr. Romanko, because Mr. Zackel, who should be here, has the flu, so he's not here today.
Yes, the town of Osoyoos operates the rural water system under the Water District Rates and Regulations Bylaw 1241. Each year the town's bylaws are reviewed and then changes are required. They are brought forward as an amending bylaw to update the content and or fees and charges. This bylaw amendment was given first 3 readings at the February 1st, 2016 regular meeting of council. Schedule A, B, and E have been amended to reflect a $20 increase in water users' fees for domestic use, with a 5.49% increase to the other water users and a 2% increase to parcel irrigation fees. The 2016 rate for domestic use is $384. As comparison, the town of Oliver's 2016 residential rate is $381. The proposed water district rates were discussed at the December 18th, 2015 budget meeting with council direction to bring the bylaw forward. The increase in rates is expected to raise an additional $18,100 in revenues. Funding available for all water capital projects are $448,135, down from $559,950 in 2015. The 2016 water capital projects include 74th Avenue Fire Hall off-site services, Richter Property subdivision, well 4 flow meter and discharge piping upgrade, Station 8 electrical upgrades, irrigation supply well in Gyro Park, water supply main Gyro Park to the Holiday Inn, rural area twinning. In terms of implications, the community has improved water infrastructure, improved water quality. No organizational changes are required. Budget increases in revenues will assist with the with the water capital projects. Significant dates: bylaw needs to be adopted prior to financial plan being adopted. Sustainability: continued efforts for protecting the environment, reduction of carbon footprint, and financial sustainability, and ensuring that the proper use of water supply. In terms of options, 3 options are provided. Number 1, to adopt Water District Rates and Regulations Bylaw Amendment 1241.08 2016. 2, to rescind third reading, further amend bylaw 1248.08 and reread for the third time, and 3, to leave bylaw 1241.07 as is for 2016, with administration recommending option number 1.
Thank you very much.
I move
Mr.
option number 1.
Okay, thank you. And you can second it. Councillor Moreira, Councillor Campbell. All in favor? Thank you very much. This is really just a procedural thing. Unless there's any changes, it was given first 3 readings already, so we've been through it before. The next item is the gas tax twinning. And Mr. Romanko, you're going to give us a report on that, please?
Yes, thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Yes, the town of Osoyoos is pleased to provide information that they were able to receive federal gas tax funding in the amount of $2.472 million from the Federal Gas Tax Fund. This amount of money will also be matched by the town of Osoyoos and the rural water users in the amount of $1.251 million for a total project of $3,723,000 in the forthcoming 2 years. This phase will see the construction of 9.3 kilometers of water main supply to 132 users in the southern half of irrigation district number 8. Now, just for clarification, that is the area just to the north of town. There was some media reporting that there would be water supplied to the south of town, but it's the southern part of irrigation district number 8, so which is to the north of town. So that being said, within a few, at least a couple years, that particular area will have full domestic water system and will be able to meet the interior health requirements for full domestic water. So there'll be no more boil water advisories. So we will be tendering for a fall construction period. So this is very good news for the community and for the water users in the part of irrigation district number 8. Now, we do, no formal plans have been made yet, but we will be doing some type of a public open house in the next 3-4 weeks that will provide information to people as to where, kind of the phases, what we're doing, what people will actually receive water supply in the next while. So,
thank you very much. Yes, this is a very good news story. I'm wondering if, for one thing, it's one phase out of 5, so this does not cover the whole thing. It'll take us quite a while to do it, but it gets us started. And this information is on the town website if you look under Water Matters, so it's all there. Mr. Manko, I'm wondering if it would be possible, because it's a little confusing for some of the homeowners, to at some point provide a map of which, I think it's 142 homes at this point. If there's 5 phases, it would be interesting to know which areas are covered under phase 1, and then I'm assuming it's phase 2 and phase 3 are both north of town with Pump House 8, and then the other 2 likely would be Pump House 9.
I think the first 2 phases are the first 3 phases are to the north.
Okay,
yeah.
I think it would be helpful to have a map at some point if we
we'll
can get that on
do.
there.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? No? Okay, so we will now move on to correspondence, and we do have the Okanagan Basin Water Board meeting highlights on here. I'd just like to point out that I was at the meeting about a week ago, and in fact, the OBWB has just received $397,000 in gas tax funding for environmental flow needs. So the idea is to manage valley waters and how much water would be needed in fish-bearing streams. So they're in the process of dealing with that, and so the gas tax funding will help them with that. Is there anything else on? Oh, there's a couple of other things on this that say the invasive mussels. that there have been quite a few letters written by the OBWB to the provincial government and the federal government, asking them to keep up the pressure to get more funding available to prevent zebra and quagga mussels. And I believe that they're asking for 8 stations on the borders and a couple of roving stations as well. So you'll see this come up quite often because it's considered a really important issue to pursue. And the other thing is that at that meeting there was a Central Okanagan floodplain mapping project, and there was a lady there who presented that about floodplain mapping so that they would have some idea about flood risk areas and so on. And we asked, is there one in North Okanagan and Southern Okanagan? And no, there wasn't yet. So that was noted in here that we think that that those 2 areas should be also included at some point. And a drought plan, the Okanagan Drought Plan report was received, and a report with next steps will be provided to the board in March. And what they're suggesting is that people think about drought planning and have something in place in your own area. And there are templates available for that you can deal with doing drought planning. So it's probably a good idea. 2, I know that there's a lot of people out there, and I'll just say this now, saying, well, isn't it nice? We have lots of snow up on the hills, and we have had quite a lot of rain, so we don't have a problem anymore. Well, there's 2 things that could cause us some concern this year, and one of them is if we have a quick melt of the snow up in the hills, and we're getting warmer weather right now, that could cause a problem later on in the spring. The other thing is that we tend to, over a past history, have had a fair amount of rain in June. Not hail to damage the crops, and not heavy rain, but we need rain at that time, which then helps us through the summer. So those are 2 things that we're hoping will happen this year, because people can't just assume because we've had a lot of rain now that solves all the problems. Okay. Is there anyone else that wanted to ask questions or mention anything about the Okanagan Basin Water Board? Okay. Next is the zoning amendment bylaw number 1085.95 2016. And that would be our senior planner, Dillis Wang. Thank you, Dillis.
All right. Will it show on there? Oh, I guess the presentation is combined with the PowerPoint. Okay. All right, so the purpose of this bylaw is to request council give first and second readings to zoning amendments bylaw number 1085-95 relating to craft distilleries. The zoning bylaw text amendments that are proposed include adding a definition for craft distillery, adding craft distillery as a permitted use in the M3 Special Industrial Zone, as well as in the C1, C3, and C4 commercial zones, and amending Schedule 1 off-street parking. So since craft distillery is currently not a permitted use in any of the town zones, these amendments were initiated after staff received a zoning bylaw amendments application from Tumbleweed Spirits seeking to allow craft distillery as a permitted use for the property that is located at 6001 Lakeshore Drive, Unit 7. And the applicant would like to establish a small batch craft distillery to manufacture fine spirits, with the main ingredients being locally sourced from BC as well as in the South Okanagan Valley. The applicant also proposes to include a small retail tasting room as well as hold facility tours. At the end of last month, the applicant has already submitted a manufacturer's license application to the BC Liquor Control and Licensing Branch. So as shown on this map here, the subject property is zoned M3 Special Industrial and is located on the east side of Lakeshore Drive between Main Street and 56th Avenue. The site is surrounded by other properties with the same zone to the north, east, and south, and there are also some commercial and residential properties to the west right across from Lakeshore Drive. So here is a view of the existing building that is on the property for the proposed craft distillery use. And this view is looking northeast. Here is another view that shows a second industrial building here on the same lot. And Pizza 97A is located at the front of this building. So as seen on this map in blue, all of the lands zoned M3 within the town are clustered together around the subject property. And the M3 zone permits a range of uses such as service industries, manufacturing and food processing plants, wholesale and distribution facilities, veterinary services, as well as cafe, coffee shop, and restaurant. The addition of a craft distillery would be compatible with the general uses that are currently permitted in this zone. So next, it is proposed that craft distillery be permitted in the M3 zone, along with this proposed definition that is shown on this slide. And an annual production volume of 50,000 liters would help limit the scale of the use. And this limit is one of the criteria that is set out by the province for establishments classified as a craft distillery. And besides the M3 zone, staff has also taken its own initiative of reviewing whether permitting craft distilleries in certain commercial zones may also be appropriate. Based on a review of zoning bylaws from different municipalities that have provisions for craft distilleries, such use is generally supported in the commercial zones. So the three additional zones that are identified as being appropriate are the C1 downtown commercial, C3 highway commercial, and the C4 tourist commercial zones. It should be mentioned that these three zones already allow a licensed establishment as a permitted use. And here is a map showing where all of the proposed zones for the craft distillery use are located. The M3 zone is shown in blue here, and the C1, C3, and C4 zones are highlighted in red. And overall, this map shows that all of the properties in the M3, C1, C3, and C4 zones are designated general commercial, downtown commercial, as well as tourist commercial in the official community plan. And in terms of the off-street parking requirements, a rate of 1 parking space per 40 square meters of gross floor area is proposed for the craft distillery use. And based on the proposed building's approximate area of 223 square meters on Lakeshore Drive, this translates to a total of 6 parking spaces. If a craft distillery is proposed in the downtown commercial zone, this rate will be based on what is already currently established for the C1 zone, which is 1 parking space per 50 square meters. And this reflects the availability of the shared parking in the downtown area. So these are the options that are brought forth to council, and staff recommends the first option, which is that council gives first and second readings to zoning amendment bylaw number 1085-95 and sets a date for a public hearing. And prior to the public hearing, the application will be forwarded to any applicable agencies for their comments. Well,
thank you very much for providing this information for us. Can I ask what I initially thought was, why would we say one parking, off-street parking for 40 meters when other areas have one per 50? Is that 50 square meters? You said that the other one did.
Yes, well, in terms of the 1 per 50 square meters, this parking rate is only for the C1 zone. So this is just for the downtown area. And
Okay.
this rate is for all of the non-residential uses in the C1 zone. But because right now craft distillery, we're proposing it for it to be located or permitted in the M3, C3, and C4, we don't have a rate for this use yet. So looking at what the applicant is looking for in terms of the number of parking spaces that are required for both employees and customers, we felt that this rate of 1 per 40 square meters would be suitable for the craft distillery use in general.
Okay, thank you. Is there room at the back of the property, in other words, behind the building, to put the parking stalls? Is that what you're suggesting?
There is room. So if I just quickly go back to this photo here.
It looks like there is, that's why I asked.
Yes, yeah, so there is room at the back, and yeah, later on, we'll have to ensure that the spaces are designated, that there is sufficient space, and there should be, because there is quite a large area in behind the building.
Okay. Thank you very much. Councillor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Question is, do they have to put a special firewall between it and the restaurant? Or is that a separate issue altogether?
In terms of firewalls, so the restaurant, there isn't going to be a restaurant use.
Oh, the pizza.
The pizza, this is the building that's next door.
Oh, it's not attached?
No.
It's not. So this building here, this is the pizza restaurant.
know there was-
This
like-
is another building, I believe it's used for, it's a business that's repairing RVs and
Oh, I thought it was
boats.
actually attached.
Yeah,
there's
so
a space?
it is the former Studders
Okay,
building
no, that's
that
it.
they're looking at
And one
right
other
now.
question, do they have to have special ventilation for the fermentation stage?
Well, I would think that later on at the building permit stage, this would
That
be
would go
looked
through.
at. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So you're just asking for the zoning to be.
It's just,
Yeah.
yes, just to add the use.
Yeah, anybody?
Yeah, me.
Councillor Youngberg, and then Councillor Rhodes.
Thanks, Dillis. Great presentation. First one, did pretty good.
Okay.
My just major concern is parking. That area is really, really busy during July and August. And so I'm hoping that you make the real solid recommendation that all the staff and long-term visitors would use the back of the building, because right out in front there's probably only
2 or 3.
really speaking 4 spots. So just my concern, and I know parking's always been our big concern in Oswego,
Right.
so before we go ahead, it would just be nice to make sure that's in the recommendations.
Right. All right.
Thanks.
Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. So I'll make a recommendation based on the recommended option 1 with the exact wording that's listed on there.
Thank you. And are you seconding that, Councillor Campbell? Okay, anything else? All in favor? Thank you very much. And so you will be setting up a public, is it a public meeting or a public hearing?
Well,
We need a date.
we'll need a scheduled date for the public
Okay.
hearing.
And would you like to set that up now?
Yes, we needed a date probably within the motion,
Okay.
a separate motion for the date, okay. Did you have any suggested dates?
We're thinking of March 21st. I think that should provide enough time for the circulation in terms of the referral comments. So that should be a little bit over a month from
That's
today's date.
council day? Council is that day, I don't know if that
Yeah,
would have
that's
an impact.
when,
So have it in the evening?
But
yeah, that's usually what we
Okay.
do.
At 7 p.m., is that what the idea at the Sonora Center? Will you send that out later?
Well, I think we can have the public hearing here.
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay. So a public hearing would be set for March the 21st at 7 p.m. In council chambers.
All right.
Councillor Rhodes?
I'll make that motion.
Is that a second motion or included in the
Yeah.
first one? Second motion? Okay, thank you. Councillor King, all in favor? Thank you very much. Our next item is the Waste Management Services and Regulations Amendment Bylaw. Mr. Romanko.
Thank you. To review and update the Waste Management Services and Regulations Bylaw. This bylaw was established to set regulations for services to collect and dispose of solid waste and recyclable materials within the town of Osoyoos and for materials accepted at the Osoyoos sanitary landfill. This bylaw amendment received first three readings at the February 1st, 2016 regular open meeting of council. Amendment bylaw 1309.01 is being brought forward for council's consideration. A few changes are proposed for 2016 as per budget discussions from the December 18th, 2015 budget meeting. The garbage slash recycling rate is being increased $2.49 to $126.93 for the 2016 for a single family residence. The other rate change is increasing the garbage tag rate from $2.25 to $2.30. One housekeeping item is that regular size tires without rims are being accepted free at the landfill. This is consistent with the landfills in the regional district. Schedule A is being amended to reflect this. In terms of implications, community continued effort for waste diversion at the Osoyoos sanitary landfill to expand the lifespan for residents. No organizational changes required. Budget increased revenues to assist with the increase in costs associated with garbage collection and operations and recycling opportunities. Significant dates. Bylaw needs to be adopted prior to the 5-year financial bylaw being adopted. And sustainability, continued effort for protecting the environment, reduction of waste, and financial sustainability. 3 options presented. 1, to adopt Waste Management Services and Regulations Amendment Bylaw 1309.01, 2016. 2, to rescind third reading and further amend Bylaw 1309.01 and reread for the third time. And 3, to not change Bylaw 1309, 2015 at this time, with the administration recommending option number 1.
Thank you very much. Councillor Campbell?
A motion to accept option number 1 as it's worded.
Thank you. Councillor Youngberg, seconding. Any discussion? All in favor? This is another one that's gone through first 3 readings already, so it's fairly easy to deal with at this point. Next is the Sewer Rates and Regulations Amendment Bylaw. Mr. Romanko.
The town of Osoyoos operates their sewer system under the town's Sewer Rates and Regulations Bylaw 1065. Each year the town's bylaws are reviewed, and when changes are required, they are brought forward as an amendment bylaw to update the content and/or fees and charges. This bylaw amendment was given first 3 readings at the February 1st, 2016 regular meeting of council. Bylaw Amendment 1065-17, 2016 is brought forward for council's consideration. Schedule A and Schedule B have been amended to reflect a $6.86 increase to sewer user fees for single-family residents, with a 2.97% increase to the other sewer user fees. The 2016 rate for single-family residents is $237.87 in town and $330.87 in the rural area. The town of Oliver single-family residential rate in 2016 is $235.90. The proposed sewer rates were discussed at the December 18th budget meeting with council direction to bring the bylaw forward. The increase in rates is expected to raise an additional $37,800 in revenues. Funding available for capital projects are $454,065, down from $455,250 in 2015. The 2016 capital projects include main lift station reconstruction, southeast Meadowlark sewer extension to the fire hall, Richter property subdivision, cell number 3 replacement liner and aeration, reclaimed water expansion to Test Orchard, In terms of implications, community, improved sewer infrastructure and improved lake quality. No organizational changes required. Budget increases. Revenues will assist with sewer capital projects. Bylaw needs to be adopted prior to financial plan being adopted. Sustainability, continued effort to protect the environment, reduction of carbon footprint, and financial sustainability. 3 options are presented to adopt the sewer rates and regulations bylaw, amendment bylaw 1065-17, 2016. 2, to rescind third reading and further amend bylaw 1065-17 and reread for the third time. And 3, to leave bylaw 1065-16 as is for 2016, with the administration recommending option number 1.
Thank you. Could I have a motion? Councillor Youngberg.
I'd like to move to adopt sewer rates and regulations amendment bylaw 1065.17, 2016.
That would be option 1.
Option
Seconder, Councillor Campbell. All in favor? Thank you very much. The Revenue Anticipation Borrowing Bylaw, number 1318. Mr. Manko.
This is for council to renew their line of credit with the Bank of Montreal. This bylaw received first 3 readings at the February 1st, 2016 regular meeting of council. Section 177 of the Community Charter allows the municipality by bylaw to establish a bylaw to provide for the borrowing of money in anticipation of revenue. This bylaw authorizes the municipality to borrow up to $1.5 million to meet current expenditures and pay amounts to meet the municipality's taxing obligation. This line of credit is set up with the Bank of Montreal. If this operating line of credit is used, the revenue from the property taxes must be used to repay the money borrowed. In 2015, the town of Vesuvius did not go into their line of credit. In terms of implications, community allows for operations to continue until funding comes in for taxation. No organizational impacts, no budget impacts. Significant dates, new bylaw to be adopted by February 2016. Sustainability, financial management. 3 options presented. 1, to adopt the Revenue Anticipation Bylaw 1318, 2016. 2, to rescind third reading, make adjustments, and reread for the third time. And 3, to defer the adoption of the Revenue Anticipation Bylaw, with the administration recommending option number 1.
Thank you very much. Councillor Rhodes, Councillor King, you okay with that? Will, moved and seconded. All in favor? Thank you very much. Water Rates and Regulations Amendment Bylaw. Mr. Romanko.
The town of Vesuvius operates their water system under the Water Rates and Regulations Bylaw 1242. Each year, the town's bylaws are reviewed, and then changes are made, and changes are required. They are brought forward as an amending bylaw to update the content and/or fees and charges. This bylaw amendment was given first 3 readings at the February 1st, 2016 regular meeting of council. Bylaw Amendment 1242.08, 2016 is brought forward for council's consideration. Schedule A has been amended to reflect a $20 increase to water user fees for a single-family residence, with a 6.37% increase to other water user fees. The 2016 rate for a single-family residence is $334. As a comparison, the town of Oliver's 2016 residential rate is $381. The proposed water rates were discussed at the December 18th, 2015 budget meeting with council direction to bring the bylaw forward. The increase in rates is expected to raise an additional $89,000 in revenues. Funding available for water capital projects are $488,135, down from $559,950 in 2015. And I earlier discussed the projects that were going to be funded, so I'll just skip over those. In terms of implications, community, improved water infrastructure. 2, improved water quality. No organizational changes required. Budget increased revenues will assist with water capital projects. Significant dates. Bylaw needs to be adopted prior to financial plan being adopted. Sustainability, continued effort to protect the environment, reduction of carbon footprint and financial sustainability, and ensuring that the proper use of water supply. 3 options are presented. 1, to adopt water rates and regulations bylaw Regulations Amendment Bylaw 1242.08, 2016. 2, to rescind third reading and further amend Bylaw 1242.08 and reread for the third time. And 3, to leave Bylaw 1242.07 as is for 2016, with the administration recommending option number 1.
Could I have Councillor Ray, Councillor Campbell? Yes.
Since this is a bylaw that does not affect systems 8 or 9, it has to be moved and seconded by a regular councillor.
Thank you for pointing that out. Councillor Campbell, Councillor Rhodes, all in favor. Thank you. And I thought it was water, so we could deal with them all. Okay. Next is the 5-year financial plan bylaw. Mr. Romanko.
Section 165 of the Community Charter requires municipalities to prepare a financial plan for a period of 5 years, which is adopted annually by bylaw. The Charter also requires Council to undertake a process of public consultation regarding the proposed financial plan before it is adopted. At a special open budget meeting of Council on January 18th, 2016, Council sought input from the community for considerations for the budget. Council reviewed the request made at the February 1st, 2016 regular open meeting of Council and provided direction to staff. The information in the financial plan reflects those directions as attached. The 5-year financial plan bylaw number 1317, 2016 is now being presented for Council's consideration. The financial plan must set out proposed expenditures by the municipality, proposed revenue sources, and proposed transfer between funds. The information must set out for each of the 5 years covering in the 5-year in the financial plan. The Act requires certain particulars must be included. However, the amount of detail is a matter for local determination. The financial plan must not plan for a deficit. Total proposed revenue sources plus transfers from other sources must not be exceeded by the total of proposed expenditures and transfers to other funds. Public consultation requirements. Section 166 of the Community Charter requires Council to undertake a process of public consultation regarding a proposed financial plan before it is adopted. The Act does not specify the format of public consultation process, and it may be varied at the Council's discretion to suit the local community. In addition to the special open meetings noted above, the financial information is also available on the town's website. Advertisements will be placed in the February 17th and 24th issues of the Soyuz Times. A public input session will be held prior to Council adopting the financial plan bylaw. This date is tentatively set for March 7, 2016. In terms of operating environment changes, the CPI, Consumer Price Index Vancouver, increased by 1.2%. The Transportation Consumer Price Index decreased by 1%. Non-market change, in other words, the new construction, new tax dollars, 24,159. Wages and salary increased 1.7%. Payroll overhead increases to employer costs to Canada Pension Plan, Employment Insurance, Municipal Pension Plan, Workmen's Compensation Board, and Group Benefits 0.3%. Highlighted changes. Budget is being presented to Council with a 1.97% increase to property taxes. This is an increase of $41,442 in tax-based revenue. There's a 0.53% to increase grant and aid funding, 0.64% for the new senior accounting clerk position, 0.8% to offset increased in net operating costs. Salaries and wages overall budget has increased by $128,220. Addition of one salaried employee in finance starting June 1st, 2016, $57,920. Addition of one part-time water ambassador, $20,000. Increase of 1.7% to wages and 0.3% to overhead. Garbage and recycling fees proposed to increase 2% to $126.93 from $124.44. This increase is to account for the TCPI increase, the garbage and recycling collection contract, and with some subsidization from the MMBC revenues. Sewer rates proposed to increase by $6.86 annually for single-family residents. The annual cost for a single-family residence will increase to $237.87, a 2.97% increase in town, and $330.87, a 2.12% in Area A. This is a $37,800 increase in revenues and is needed to maintain the same level of funding available for capital projects. Water rates proposed to increase by $20 annually for single-family residents to $334, which is also a 6.3% increase to other water rates. This is an $89,000 increase in revenues and is needed to increase the funding available for capital projects. Water district proposed to increase by $20 annually for single-family residents to $384. Also, a 5.49% increase to other water district rates and a 2% to irrigation rates. This is an $18,100 increase to revenues and is needed to increase the funding available for capital projects. Significant operating expenditure increases or decreases. Wages and benefits increased by $128,220 to $3,321,020. Includes one new position, senior accounting clerk, starting June 1st. Operations directing recruitment in 2015, a decrease of $15,700. Negotiator for union negotiations in 2015, decrease of $10,000. Grants increased by $20,300. CPI increase for destination associates, $3,300. $17,000 increase in grants and aids as per council request. Fire department operating budget increased by $3,780. Development service increase of $5,000 for allow for hiring of a contractor for the South Okanagan Similkameen Conservation Program under an environmental service agreement. Equipment leasing finance cost increased for a new backhoe planned for 2016. Landfill, this budget went up $16,640 in 2016 to account for increases in contracts, CPI and TCPI. Community services, an increase of $16,500. $3,100 increase to equipment repairs and maintenance, and the majority of the balance is for wages. Debt charges have increased by $98,384 to account for the spring boring for the fire hall construction project. General operating expenditures, less transfers to other government, transfers to reserves, resort municipality, contingencies, and capital project expenditures have increased by $191,994 to $5,058,454 for 2016, a 3.95% increase. Sewer operating expenditures, less transfers to reserves, contingencies, and capital project expenditures have increased by $38,985 to $1,195,765 for 2016, a 3.37% increase. Water operating expenditures, less transfers to reserves, contingencies, and capital project expenditures was increased by $93,915 to $1,660,345 for 2016, a 6% increase. Transfers to reserves, general fund, marina, $11,500. This is being funded from marina lease revenues. 2, fire department equipment, $28,370. Joint reserve fund, museum land restoration, $10,000. Waste recycling initiatives, $10,000. Water meter reserve fund, $125,000. Contingency allowance, general fund, $50,000. Sewer fund, $30,000. Water fund, $20,000. Funds available for capital expenditures. General operating funds available for capital expenditures in 2016 are $504,193, up from $474,792 in 2015. Sewer operating funds available for capital expenditure in 2016 are $454,065, down from $455,250 in 2015. Water operating funds available for capital project expenditures in 2016 are $448,135, down from $559,950 in 2015. Cost to average single-family residence, the difference in property taxes is a difference of $12.08. General debt, no increase. Fire hall debt, $14.97. Garbage and recycling, $2.49. Sewer, $6.86. Water, $20, for a total of $56.40. The financial plan must be adopted by bylaw at any time before the annual property tax bylaw is adopted. Section 197(1) requires that council must adopt the annual property tax bylaw before May 15th. In terms of implications, community, a significant amount of capital projects are planned for 2016 that will enhance the community and improve infrastructure in the town and rural service areas. Organizationally, an addition of one position to the Finance Department. Budget. User fees are for garbage collection, water and sewer have increased a combined $56.40. For a single-family residence, 1.97% increase to property taxes after new construction dollars are added. Significant dates, public input into the financial plan after first 3 readings and prior to council consideration for adoption. Financial plan bylaw needs to be adopted no later than May 15th, 2016. Sustainability, working to ensure maintaining levels of service for the community and financial sustainability for the town. 2 options are presented for council. 1, for council to give first 3 readings of the 5-year financial plan bylaw 1317-2016. 2, to make additional changes to the 5-year financial plan and bring forward for first 3 readings. And administration recommends option number 1.
Thank you. That was a long one. It was a good review of all the things that we had talked about on December the 18th, for sure. Councillor Youngberg?
I'd like to make a motion to accept option number 1 for council to give first 3 readings of 5-year financial plan bylaw 1317-2016.
Thank you. And Councillor Rhodes, second. All in favor? Thank you. Can I just ask, you said that on March the 7th there is going to be a public meeting. Will that be right before our regular meeting or in the evening? Or
That'll be right before our regular meeting.
So at 1 o'clock or
That's
1:30
right.
or something.
Yep.
Thank you. Next is under business. We have the annual general meeting, and that would be Ms. Van Vienen.
Thank you. Section 99 of the Community Charter requires that Council holds an annual general meeting to consider the annual report before June the 30th of each year. The public has an opportunity to address Council regarding the annual report. It is being suggested that the AGM be held the first meeting day of June, which would be June 6, 2016. The meeting can be held on a day separate from a regular open meeting of Council. However, it is convenient to hold it on the same day. 1 hour is being suggested for the meeting to allow for review of the annual report and for the public to address Council. It is suggested that the AGM begin at 1 p.m. on June 6, 2016, and that the regular meeting be advertised to begin immediately following the AGM, which would meet the notice requirements. Implications for the community, an opportunity for the public to address Council regarding the 2015 achievements. Organizationally, all directors to be in attendance. No budget implications, significant dates, the requirement under the Community Charter to prepare the annual report and schedule the AGM is before the end of June. And options being presented that the annual general meeting for the town of Osoyoos be held on Monday, June 6, 2016 at 1 p.m. in the council chambers, and that the regular open meeting of council begin immediately following the AGM, or that the annual general meeting be held on another date and time, and staff recommend option 1.
Thank you. Councillor Campbell? Option one. Councillor Rhodes seconding that. All in favor? Thank you very much. Next is the Penticton Model Aviation Club. Miss Van Vianen, sorry.
Thank you. Council approved the use agreement with Penticton Model Aviation Club, or PenMac, for a one-year term for each year from 2013 to 2015 in order for PenMac to use the airport to fly model aircrafts. There have been no issues in the past with the use of the airport by PenMac for this purpose. They are requesting an agreement for use for another year, ending December 31st, 2016. Insurance is provided through the Model Aeronautics Association of Canada in the amount of $2 million. There is no fee being charged to the group, and there are no direct expenses to the town. Implications for the community: the club provides a recreation opportunity for local people to bring other people to town to participate in activities. Organizationally, staff time in monitoring the contract, no budget implications, no significant dates, and options being presented are that, one, that council approve the agreement with Penticton Model Aviation Club for use of the Oceas Airport for the term of January 1st to December 31st, 2016, and that the signing authorities be authorized to sign the agreement. Two, that staff make changes to the agreement and return to council for further review. Or three, that council not approve the agreement with Penticton Model Aviation Club for the use of the Oceas Airport, and staff recommend option one.
Thank you. Can I just ask, they've been doing this for many years, have they not?
This will be the third year.
Oh, just the third. Okay, I thought it was longer than that. Okay.
Fourth year, sorry.
Fourth year? Okay. Council? Councillor?
I think Rhodes put up his hand first.
Doesn't matter. He's already been interviewed. Well, they always say a pick on these two over here. So,
All right.
Councillor Youngberg, Councillor King.
Yeah.
Right.
Protest?
Protest. All in favor? Thank you. That seems like an easy thing to. Okay. Next is the home hardware lease amendment. Mr. Emenko.
Thank you. Through previous council motions, council agreed to provide home hardware stores with a lease extension of town-owned property used by Home Hardware for lumber storage until December 31st, 2019. The main lease documents, which included the regional district, town, and Home Hardware, were executed earlier. However, the lease for the town property is attached for execution. Implications: community benefited from retaining the home builder service in town. However, the construction of the new museum was delayed, and any plans for town any plans the town had for the parcel of land. Organizationally, just a time to execute the lease. Budget: town continues to receive annual lease revenues in the amount of $17,500. No significant dates at this time. They just would like the lease documents completed. There are two options presented. One, that council approves the lease amendment and provides council signatories authority to sign the lease document. Two, council requests additional information. And administration recommends option number one, as council has previously agreed to a lease amendment enabling lease of the warehouse lands until December 31st, 2019.
Thank you. Are you two going to put up your hands now? Okay, Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Campbell. All in favor? Thank you very much. Next is the Osuya Secondary School closure. Mr. Emenko, were you going to speak to that? Did you?
I haven't pulled anything together in terms of the discussions from this morning's meeting, but I can wing it unless
Please.
you would.
No, you go right ahead and tell them when you have time. Well, our meeting went on this morning till 12:30, so we didn't have a lot of time, and we have to continue it after. Go ahead.
So you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the members of council attended the public meeting on February the 9th, and we're waiting until after that meeting. Not only the public meeting, but council had a meeting, private meeting with the school board. Now that they've got some additional insights, there was discussion this morning that council will be proceeding with setting up a meeting with the Minister of Education There was some discussion in around whether that should be a joint meeting with representatives of the school board or council alone. Although council will be more than happy to join the public in meeting with the minister, council felt it was important that council proceed with a meeting by themselves to discuss the overall implications of any potential closure of the secondary school. Council also agreed that they would like to sit formally with the MLA prior to that meeting and discuss the concerns that this council has about the education funding and the impacts of any school closure on the community. Council will continue to work with local parent groups, and I've been directed to develop a letter that will be included some very key messages from council, and this letter will be approved prior to it being sent to the school board, and then also copied to the MLA and the Minister of Education.
Thank you. And we will, at that time, make it available to the media when we have that letter. So we'll try and have it done tomorrow. This week sometime. Okay. Tomorrow, this week, next week. No, we're going to try and get it done this week. I'm getting it done tomorrow morning, my part.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else want to add anything to what was said? Thank you. So that is
Do you
just
need a
for
resolution to
information.
make sure you do
we?
that?
No.
No,
I think I got enough direction this morning.
Okay. Okay. So the next thing then that we have is the Emergency Program Act. Ms. Van Vienen.
Thank you. So at the Committee of the Whole meeting this morning, I presented a report to Council with regards to the discussion paper the province sent on the legislative framework for emergency management in BC. I won't read my report again. That is available on our website under our Committee of the Whole agenda. However, Council had requested that a letter be sent to the Minister. We have to also respond under the citizen engagement portion of the website. However, Council wanted a letter sent to the Minister that addressed the three items. One was the lack of time that was given to the municipality to respond. The letter was received from the Minister dated January 11th, and they want the responses in by February the 19th. Secondly was in the discussion number 6, the ministerial authority to direct emergency planning, where the minister would be able to direct municipal government change their emergency plan, and there wasn't sufficient information there as to under what circumstances or what timelines, which could have significant effect on smaller municipalities. And thirdly was discussion number 10, which was evacuation orders, and that one would allow, under a state of local emergency, either provincial or local emergency, that the police could forcibly apprehend somebody who refuses to leave their property. And it is felt there's some quite a few implications there that needs further review. So this letter has been drafted for Council, and we're just looking for Council to either amend it or approve it or whatever you would like to do.
Okay, thank you. We did get a copy of this letter, and do you just need a resolution to actually send this letter now?
For your signature.
Oh,
Yes.
I'll do that. No. Councillor Rhodes?
Also move.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Youngberg? All in favor? Okay, so that can be done. I'll do it later if you want. Okay, thank you very much. And we do not have any notice of motion? No? Okay, next is reports, and that would be cash requirements. So this is general net payroll and Sun Bowl Arena financial accounts to report on expenditures from accounts payable for council approval and payroll information for council to receive. The overview is general Sun Bowl Arena cash requirements and net payroll accounts to February the 15th, 2016, representing balances in the following funds in the amount of general cash requirements, $1,082,104.01. Sun Bowl cash requirements of $22,434.43, and net payroll accounts of $71,073.49. So the general accounts and arena accounts will be adopted by consensus, and the payroll accounts will be received for information. And do you need a motion for that? No, thank you. And next is our building report. Slide that over. So to date, we have a total of a $10,000 alteration to a washroom and a $60,000 interior alteration, and so for the month it's $70,000. And total to date in 2015 was $131,600. So we're down a little from last year, but we were way higher at the end of December, weren't we? Okay. Do we need to have? Okay. Could we have a motion to accept that? Thank you, Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Campbell. All in favor? Thank you. Next is the bylaw enforcement. So we do have a bylaw enforcement month end for January. Would you like me to read this out? We haven't had one of these before, so that in this format. So Pat Marshall of Pat Marshall Bylaw Enforcement has given us a report and on working on traffic patrols. And all of the things are up there. Traffic 36, bylaw enforcement's comms. What would that
Complaints.
be?
Just general complaints.
Complaints, sorry. Okay. Is 17. Animal 4. Administration is 6. Property 1.5. Pound 30.5. Noise 1. Parks 9. And miscellaneous 1. So the bylaw enforcement, or Pat, I think at this time of year, it's just her, has been busy for the last month. Anything else on that? Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I think this is great to see this report, and hopefully it'll be on a monthly basis. But is there any chance to get a comparison to last year to see how we're comparing?
This is a new requirement under the new contract with this contractor, so we didn't have month-to-month reports like this to compare to, but starting this year, you will be getting them on a regular monthly basis per her contract, yes.
Good. I think it's a great idea, too. Yes.
I think it is a really good idea, and I like Pat's comments.
Yes.
Of what she's actually done. I think that's really positive and gives us a better idea of what actually is going on in the community.
Did you want me to read those? Or?
It's your choice. I was just looking at you because we need a motion to receive this information.
Yes, yeah. And we will.
Yeah.
So let me just explain that there were a few trailers and motorhomes parked in prohibited areas. According to her report, vehicles parked that were obstructing traffic, and she wrote 3 warning tickets for this. A few animal calls for dogs at large, but they were gone on arrival. Also had a complaint of restricted breed in the dog park without a muzzle. Received a complaint of dogs mistreated in a truck, but was gone when I arrived, and I still have 2 dogs and 1 cat in the pound that will be going to the SPCA soon. Unsightly properties have started. I have 2 with household items in front. 2 noise complaints, which I have informed complainants to fill out a noise log, but in the meantime, I did give the offenders a copy of the noise bylaw. I have been monitoring the parks this month due to some problems we have been having with vandalism. I've talked to a few people and checked the washrooms during the afternoon and the evening. So, there we go. So, okay.
Thank you for that. I think the public should be made well aware that we are on top of a number of things, and there are some warning tickets going out to people. I think that's important to know.
Good. So I agree. I think this is a good option to have every month.
I'll make
Okay.
a motion to receive.
Yes. And Councillor Rhodes, all in favor? Thank you. Next, we have committee reports. No. A CAO report.
Thank you. Just a few of the activities that the administration and operations have been in over the last couple of weeks, starting community services. The BC Family Skate went very well. We had about 70 people in attendance, and Gerald would like to thank the Osoyoos Coyotes and all our volunteers who assisted. The Community Services Grant Program, we have received numerous grant applications, and the deadline is scheduled for Friday, the February 26th, and the application is available online. Compost bin sales with the regional district will be in effect from March 1st to the 21st, and more information will be circulated via e-news, and he's in the process of making final arrangements for the Tot Lot Playground for spring installation. In terms of corporate services did some website updates, training of receptionists on council meeting procedures, FOIP request, review of department processes are underway, looking at streamlining and standarding procedures, and also a review of new legislation, including the Local Government Act and the Emergency Program Act. In terms of planning and development, H&M Excavating has started work on Phase B of Gyro Park Plaza. This contract work includes installing pavers, trees, benches, light bollards, and tree grates, as well as undertaking concrete, irrigation, and electrical works. Contract price is $70,411. All work will be completed before April 30th to meet Council's deadline. In terms of public works, work on Station 8 continues and is moving right along to meet all the needed timelines. Public Works was involved in removing the graffiti from the Gyro Park washroom and is just waiting for the insurance adjuster to provide a final report prior to engaging the restoration company. Street sweeping in the downtown is underway. In terms of myself, intended to continue to work on background on the school closure, continue to work on the DO Tourism Partner Agreement, attended a transit meeting to discuss a regional system that will enable an integrated schedule. And although I was not able to attend the meeting on Friday, we did have another fire hall meeting. That's with the contractor, the architect, and the major sub-trades, and I can say that things are going very well. The contractors are very happy with the weather, that it has not slowed them down, and they continue. And I've got to follow up on it. Apparently, the contractor has asked for a 3-week extension. We don't know why, so I'll be following up on that, because if things are going well, there should be some legit reason for extending the scheduled date 3 weeks. So that and a few little odds and ends to look after, but all in all, things are going very well on site and on budget.
Good. Thank you. So we need to have a motion to accept this report. Thank you, Councillor Campbell, Councillor King. All in favor? Thank you. And now Councillor reports, and Councillor Rhodes, you're first. And welcome back. We're happy to see everybody back at the table again. Councillor Youngberg as well.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. I've been away on vacation, so I don't have an awful lot to report. Just wanted to say that I'm really glad to be back in Osoyoos. And after visiting so many different towns and cities over the last little while, it always renews the feeling that we live in a great part of our country and in North America. And really, at the end of the day, Osoyoos really is a great place to live. And when you experience these other communities and see some of the things that are going on, we're just so fortunate and so lucky to be living here. I was able to attend a council meeting while I was away. It's always interesting to see how other communities do it. The community was quite a bit larger than ours. They meet with more frequency, but I'll tell you, all as I can say is there's some great things going on in our town. Our Granicus and being taped for TV viewing keeps people in their best behavior. We act a lot better because when you don't have them, it's a very interesting concept. Some of the things are going. So I wanted to kind of pass it on. We're doing a good job in Oswego, and these kind of act as like policemen for all of us. And I just, if anybody really wants to know how it is in some other places, maybe after the meeting you could ask me. It's kind of interesting. But it was good to have that exposure. And once again, I'm really glad to be back and raring to go for another year.
Good. Thank you. Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. The February 9th school board public meeting that I attended was nothing short of absolutely amazing. The representation from all aspects of the community were one thing, from seniors to students, but I think the most impactful thing I saw that evening were hearing from the students, and there was a lot of things, I think, as much as we disagree with the decision, that we took for granted. And hearing the kids talk about playing on teams and sports and talking about their teammates and their coaches and representing their own community on teams, I found especially impactful. So just kudos to this community for coming together in a very civilized way to deal with a very difficult situation. And I know Brenda DeRoche and her group have put in just a ton of time just researching potential solutions while also holding the school board accountable to their report. So great on this community. The only other thing I have is just the Osoyoos Coyotes. Wow, 9 straight games, just finished a 10-1 victory the other night. So a couple more home games left in the playoffs, so I encourage everybody to head out and support them.
Thank you very much. And I think we all probably echo your statements about the school board meeting. I think that if passion was the only criteria, this would be over and done with very quickly. Councillor King.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I guess I just got to sort of say the same thing with the meeting on February 9th for 800 to 1,000 people showing up in our community, just showing the passion and the concerns we have for our schools staying open. And hopefully that the same people, if not more people, will show up on March 8th to also bring their concerns forward. But in the meantime, we are starting to receive some ideas, and I think that is very important, that if you're out there and you have some ideas, please don't hesitate to send them into the mayor or council, and they do distribute it across to all mayor and councils, and that gives us the opportunity to possibly look at other ideas we have and move them forward. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Good point. Councillor Youngberg.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. And as CJ has just said, it's great to be back in the seat. And, of course, I couldn't agree more about how great it is. I'm full of gratitude for being able to live in such a wonderful area. I traveled, too, throughout the States and over to the Bahamas, which I really wanted to say was third world, but it certainly is far from that, since you have yachts that are 3 times the size of this building sitting beside your hotel room. So I got exposed to a number of different forms of lifestyle, also touring the area. However, we just have to be really thankful that we've got the opportunity to also voice our opinions. And that was truly shown at the February 9th meeting. We really have to use democracy in this situation and, of course, really come to the station with your ideas, as Councillor King said. We need support. We need solutions. This is a dreadful situation. I returned back on Sunday to have heard about this 3 or 4 times in my emails within 1 week. So our time frame is very short, and we just have to really get after this. But having said that, we won the B event at the Curling Bonspiel on the weekend, so I was real happy about that. And I'm also really happy with Mr. Romanko and all the work at Gyro Park. Since I live right there, it's just great to see all that work going ahead and hopefully finish that project as well. And that's about all. So we'll be around the community and down to Orville tonight to do some promotion. We need those Americans up here shopping, and hopefully I'll get some words out down there tonight.
Good, thank you. I was at an RDOS meeting the other day. A couple of things that, because I go every 2 weeks, so a couple of things that came up that I thought might be of interest. One was they were talking about a dog control bylaw, and we had gone through a version of this last year in Osoyoos. So they were actually looking at other districts and trying to figure out what would work best. They were not, and I asked about this, they were not talking about specific breeds, but about dangerous dogs, and we wondered how they identified what were dangerous dogs. So I told them that we had been looking at such a thing in Osoyoos and that we were back to look at at more options within the animal bylaw, but theirs was more on chickens and goats and everything else as well. So I did have a call from one of the residents who wondered how many chickens they could have in their backyard and whether they could have goats looking after the garden too. I said we would definitely bring it up and discuss it at some future date. One of the other issues that was talked about at RDOS was decommissioning a dwelling. And it was quite interesting because when people have the ability to have an additional dwelling and they go through the bylaws and the zoning, that's fair enough. But they showed some pictures of several places where, in their garage, they had put in an additional dwelling, and that was not correct. So they were asked to take out the stove. So they did when the supervisor was there, and so there was one picture of one dwelling, and I don't know where it was, with the stove taken out, and there was a water cooler in there. And the next picture was exactly the same building, the same suite, about a week later, with the stove back in. But the problem was they were advertising on the net, so they got caught. So I just thought it was quite an interesting topic to be talking about. One of the things that I wondered if we could look at was, I believe the town of Osoyoos was incorporated in 1946, and I'm not sure on what date it was, and I'm wondering if we could maybe find that out and have champagne in council chambers or something like that to celebrate the 70th anniversary. That occurred to me
today.
Well, if it was, let's get out shopping. The other thing is that the Osoyoos Desert Society has started their winter programs, and there are a couple of them that are on. And February the 20th at Watermark from 2 to 4. The first one that's this Saturday, and it's on fire ecology. There are a couple of, I think there's 4 of them in total, and I believe they're on our website, and I think they're even in the paper this week. And so have a look at those, because those, I've been to a couple of them last year, and they're very well received and quite interesting to go to. So that's the first one, is this Saturday. The other thing is that the art gallery next door to us, for up until February the 27th, has the Young Artist Display. And when I was teaching, we always used to take part in it. And since then, I was involved in picking up all of the artwork from the various schools and helping to bring it down and take it back. I'm not now. Maureen Potter, thankfully, has taken over that job. But it's well worth going in and having a look. There's high school, elementary school, and the child care center as well. They always put in some great things. And it's open, I believe, Tuesday to Saturday from 12 until 5. So go in there and have a look at that. And other than that, I think that's all that we have on the agenda for today.
Now that you've given us nightmares about killer chickens.
Yes, absolutely. So what we need is a motion to adjourn the meeting. Thank you, Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Youngberg, all in favor. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Roy and Val and Keith.